Hello aspirants, I am Indumati Karthikeyan from InKar IAS Academy. Today we are going to see about the 20th November current affairs, that is carbon border adjustment mechanism, which is taken from the Delhi edition. This topic is concerned with the conservation, environmental pollution and degradation of GS3. Carbon border adjustment mechanism, that is why it is in use. That recently that India's finance minister termed as European Union's carbon border adjustment mechanism and European Union deforestation regulation as unilateral, arbitrary and also the trade barrier aimed at hurting Indian industries. That is, what is the EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism? That is, it is the EU's tool to put the fair price on the carbon emitted during the production of carbon intensive goods, that is entering the EU, that is the European Union, and to encourage the cleaner industrial production in the non-European Union countries. It ensures that the carbon price for imports matches the carbon price applied to a European Union produced goods, maintaining the fair competition. That is how it working. That is CBAM's functioning framework by registration and certification. EU importers of goods covered by CBAM will need to register with national authorities and purchase their certificate reflecting the carbon emission embedded in the imports. And also there is an annual declaration. Importers will need to declare the emission embedded in their imported goods and surrender the corresponding number of certificates annually. And also there is a payment of carbon price that imports need to improve that a carbon price has already been paid during the production in a non-European Union country to get the amount deducted from the CBAM payment. And also there is a goods covered by CBAM initially is high risk carbon leakage goods such as cement, iron and steel, aluminium, fertilizer, electricity, hydrogen. So over the time, CBAM will capture more than 50% of emission from sectors covered by the EU emission trading system, that is oil refineries, that is shipping, etc. So what is European Union deforestation regulation? First of all, we must know about EUDR, that operators or traders placing specific commodity on the EU market on exporting them must prove their products do not come from recently deforested land and contribute forest degradation. That is, there's a objectives of regulations, that objectives that prevention of the deforestation, ensuring listed products in EU do not contribute deforestation and forest degradation. And also there is a emission in the carbon, that aiming for the reduction on at least 32 million metric tons of carbon emission annually from these commodities. And also there combat forest degradation, addressing deforestation or degradation caused by the agricultural expansion related to these commodities. And also covered the cattle, wood, cocoa, soy, palm oil, coffee, rubber and related product, leather, chocolate, tires, function. It aims to enhance the transparency and also accountability within the supply chain linked to these communities. What are the key concerns related to the EU CBAM and also EUDR? That is, a CBAM is a trade barrier that could result in the trades tariffs up to 35% on imports of carbon intensive goods like cement, aluminium, iron, steel, and also the um, cement oriented products, acting as a unilateral trade barrier. This is significant issues that as over quarters of India's export of these materials in 2022 were directed to the EU. That is, CBM is a tool for the protectionism, that is, EU imposes tariff on the carbon intensive steel products, that is steel imports, while it continues to produce the same kind of steel domestically using the proceeds from the CBAM to fund the transition of green steel productions. That also intended to prevent the carbon leakages, a phenomenon where EU based firms shift their carbon intensive production to countries with less stringent climatic policies. And also it is pose threat to the intellectual property right, that CBM requires exporter to provide 1,000 data points on production methods. Indian exporters fear the detailed data collection could not only erode their competitive edge but also the risk exposing the sensitive trade secrets. A trade secret is any practice or process of a company that is generally not known outside of the country. So, and also there is a impact on the Indian trade dynamics that represent that approximately 40% of India's overall export makes, that includes significant exports to steel and also the aluminium. India's status that EU third largest trade partner and our projection economic growth trajectories imply that the size of the Indian exports, including those in CBAM affected sectors, will likely increase the over time. Disproportionate impact that carbon intensity of Indian product that higher than the European counterparts. Consequently, the European carbon tariff imposed to 3 CBAM would be proportionally higher for Indian exports. So there is a non-compliance with the WTO norms. That is, Indian government raised concern about whether the CBAM complies with World Trade Organization. That is, it creates uncertainty in the additional challenges, and also India, despite of meeting international commitment, and also EU DR as non-tariff barriers. That is, it mandates its imported commodities like cattle, soy, palm oil, coffee, and wood certify that products do not come from the recently deforested land or contribute to a forest degradation. India views that regulation is another form of protectionism and a non-trade barrier. That is, a non-trade barrier is a trade restriction other than a tariff. NTB includes quotas like embargoes, sanctions, and also levies. So, and it is also barriers to the net zero emission target. That is a CBAM imposed by the EU will hinder India meeting not a net zero carbon emission goal by 2070. And also it's slowing down the FTA negotiations. Sustainability measures like CBAM EU would have become contentious issues in the ongoing India EU FTA negotiation. There is a previous tariff barriers, that is US tariff cost India 4.41 billion on trade losses between the 2018 to 2023. These steel tariffs were part of the EU safeguard measure which were initially set to expire in June 23. That is but have been extended, but potentially for globally policy replications is there. That is implementation CBAM may prompt other countries to have similar regulations, potential leading to additional tariffs and also regulation in the market. So the trend would complicate India's trading relationship and also impact our balance of payments. So way forward, that is advocating to fair trade practices. It must advocate our fair trade practices, and also we need to invest clean technology like sustainable production methods and also diversifying the export markets by that is exploring new markets in Asia, Africa, and also the Latin America can reduce the potential economic impact of the CBAM and also EUDR, and also we can countering this EU CBAM domestically producing such as good make itself immune from such policy shocks of other countries. And also we must monitoring global policy trends. India should monitor global policies like CBAM to anticipate challenges in the international trade, proactively develop strategies to address emerging barriers, and also protect our economic interests. Thank you.